Now at 9, the Joplin City Council will consider an ordinance that would ban many alcohol bottles in the city. Plus, Missouri lawmakers passed a bill to ban texting while driving for all ages in the state. And
Title 42 is officially over. I'm Caroline Shively in El Paso, Texas, with a look at conditions on the U.S.-Mexico border. Straight ahead.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you all for joining us tonight. I'm Jalen Banks. We have some storm chances sticking around through the night. We go straight to Chief Meteorologist Doug Ketty with the first look at the weather.
Yeah, we have been tracking showers and thunderstorms in our western counties really all evening long, where we have severe thunderstorm watches in effect across Kansas and also parts of Oklahoma. A pretty good cluster of storms in our western counties have been ongoing, and these have been severe over the past couple hours, mainly due to hail. They are slowly starting to advance a little bit farther toward the east, but we can zoom in. Yates Center, all the way down to Fredonia and Neodesha, and then we have another little cluster that is developing just to the south of Chautauqua County. I think that one's going to mainly affect most of us as we get through the overnight hours tonight. Probably a big complex will come together and eventually start to drive off toward the east. So as we go through time, thunderstorms continue to develop, pushing east, eventually into the metro later on tonight. But I think our overall severe threat will start to drop after midnight, and then just kind of moderate to strong storms, but something we want to keep our eyes on. Of course, we're going to have all those details for you here in a bit.
All right, we'll see you then. On Monday, the Joplin City Council will consider a potential ordinance that aims to prohibit the sale of alcohol in shooter bottles. KOAM Shagun Bomdali has more.
According to the City Council's bill, shooters are easier to conceal and disproportionately contribute to the violation of city code. These shooter bottles are commonly used for selling alcohol in quantities of 100 millimeters or less.
Or whatever decision they make, that's going to help solve the issue of not just the trash these bottles create, but the overall communal impact of what it does for our mental health in our region.
John Buck is the co-founder of IS Society, a non-profit organization that helps clean the city of Joplin. He says he is in favor of a ban, even when some disapprove of the ban.
We clean up every Sunday morning. We start at 7:30 a.m. and clean up for 5.5 miles in Joplin. And every week we're picking up the same type of trash every week, and the most prominent are these shooter bottles.
The city has bigger problems to deal with than some little 50 ml bottle. What's next? Somebody didn't clean up after their dog at the park, so now we're going to ban anyone from having pets in the park. We're going to ban cars because somebody honked after 10 o'clock. Nobody can drive on the streets. What are we going to ban next?
Lynette Lewis, a manager at Jog's Liquor Store, says the ban will affect city's revenue.
Outside city limits is going to pick up huge in the sales of the 50 ml bottles because people that want those bottles are still going to go get them. They're just going to drive 5 minutes farther to pick it up at another liquor store.
John Buck tells me that his non-profit company, which does local cleanups around the city of Joplin, has picked up over 50,000 shooter bottles in 4 months. Reporting in Joplin, Shagun Bomdali, KOAM News.
Monday's council meeting will have the first reading of the ordinance. Since it is not an emergency ordinance, 3 votes at 3 council meetings are required to pass it. A bill that would ban texting while driving in Missouri heads to the governor's desk after clearing the Senate yesterday. Missouri is one of only 2 states without a law that prohibits people over 21 from texting while driving. The bill would require hands-free cell phone use for drivers of all ages. According to the bill, there would be enhanced penalties for repeat offenders, violations occurring in a work zone when workers are present, violations occurring in a school zone, and violations that result in property damage, personal injury, or death. Neosho High School seniors today took part in a tradition dating back to the late 1970s. Every year, right before graduation, the graduating class comes together to paint Hill Street right by the high school. Their artwork stays there the whole year until the next class gets to for their graduation. Officials say it's a great way to let students express their creativity and leave their mark on the school.
For me, it's exciting but also sad because it's my last year in high school and I've spent my entire life in Neosho. But I grew up with her mostly, and I met her during my middle school years, so it was fun growing up with both of them. And painting, being able to paint our square together is amazing for me.
Each of the students must submit their designs in advance so the school can approve them. Students in Columbus, Kansas were getting artsy in their own creative way. It's a long-standing tradition for graduates to foam the city foundation out at the Cherokee County Courthouse. It's not seen as a bad tradition because the school district brought over kids from the Park Elementary to play in the bubbles. Some kids at Central Elementary in Baxter Springs, Kansas today got some exposure to the job world. The elementary hosted its career day. It's a chance for kids to learn more about jobs that could pique their interest and also speak to some professionals in the industry. The counselor at Central Elementary shares why it's important to bring people to the schools.
I think it's important that we see real life examples of the people working out around the community that they see every day. A lot of the people that are here, they see farmers in the field, they see Liberty working on our electric lines, and I think it's good to see them up close and see what kind of equipment they use.
Liberty Utilities, local farmers, and the police and fire departments were at the event. With the end of the school year,
so it does come from everybody. It comes from the community. We have had, we've reached out to Pittsburgh State University since graduation is tonight and tomorrow. Everybody is leaving, so we've had beds come in through there.
Some items you can donate are bed linens, mattresses, and bed frames. Hours after Title 42 expire, the Biden administration says it's not seeing a substantial increase in migrants illegally crossing the border. Those who are making their way over are being immediately taken to processing centers. Fox News correspondent Caroline Shively has more.
Groups of migrants on the Mexico border made their way through Gate 42 in El Paso on Friday. They were patted down and then loaded onto buses and vans before being taken to a processing center a few miles away. Homeland Security officials say as Title 42 expired, there was not a major influx of people illegally crossing into the U.S.
It is still early, however, and our focus remains the same, processing people safely and humanely, but now with additional tools for us to deliver consequences quickly.
As the deadline passed overnight, groups of migrants made their way across the Rio Grande. But on the other side, they were met by troops urging them to turn back. With Title 42 no longer policy, illegal migrants could be prevented from seeking asylum in the U.S. if they didn't first apply online or seek protection in the countries they traveled through.
We have built lawful, safe, and orderly pathways for them to come to the United States. They are going to meet tough consequences if they arrive at our border irregularly.
Despite the new policies, some border towns fear it's only a matter of time before people find a way around the system.
It's going to take a couple days for the cartel to get organized to figure out where the holes are so they can bring us the bad guys to drop them off and let them get around the checkpoint here.
Border Patrol says that on Thursday, agents apprehended fewer than 10,000 migrants trying to enter the country illegally for the first time in 3 days. In El Paso, Texas, I'm Caroline Shively, Fox News.
Coming up, a military policy causing controversy.
A U.S. Senator holds up 200 military nominations over his concerns about the military providing paid leave for those who need abortions. I'm Jennifer Griffin at the Pentagon. I've got the details coming up.
Alabama Republican Senator Tommy Tuberville is holding up 200 much-needed military nominations over objections to the Pentagon's abortion policy. Fox News Chief National Security Correspondent Jennifer Griffin has more from the Pentagon.
The Pentagon is sounding the alarm about a delay in confirming promotions for the U.S. military. The holdup comes from Alabama Senator Tommy Tuberville. He's been blocking almost 200 Pentagon nominees, claiming he objects to a new policy providing travel funds for service members who need abortions, but live in states where they're now illegal.
Holding up commissioned officers' confirmations on anything other than their own personal talent and skills further politicizes the military.
And now Tuberville is finding himself at odds with his fellow Republicans, including Minority Leader Mitch McConnell. Tuberville claims his objection has nothing to do with abortion. He says the issue is Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin's attempt to change military policy without consulting lawmakers.
Secretary Austin seems to think he can make a change in the law without going through Congress.
Almost 6% of active duty servicewomen had an unintended pregnancy that year, and nearly 15% reported using emergency contraception. Secretary Austin says the new guidelines are critical to ensuring troops are focused on the mission, not whether they'll have access to the health care they need.
It's critical that people be assured that if they join the force, they will continue to have access to reproductive health care.
The Pentagon estimates about 650 officers will need to be confirmed by the Senate by the end of the year, or it will cause disruption across the force for military families who typically move in the summer so that kids can get settled in school. At the Pentagon, Jennifer Griffin, Fox News.
An elite university in Connecticut plans to cover the cost of abortion services for its students. Starting this fall, Wesleyan University will offer free emergency contraceptives and help students pay for abortion procedures. This move comes after the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade last June. The services came in response to the school's Democratic Socialist Club's demands and will also cover transportation to and from clinics and care for these students during academic breaks or while studying abroad. Doug is next with a complete look at the forecast, and later, MSSU softball looks to advance to the regional championship of the Division II National Tournament. We'll have highlights from their game against Southern Arkansas.
Well, we've had some scattered showers and thunderstorms out there today, and then again, some more have been popping up this evening, mainly on the Kansas and the Oklahoma side, where we have had numerous severe thunderstorm warnings. Now we just have flash flood warning and severe thunderstorm watches in effect for Kansas and also parts of Oklahoma. But we've been watching this cluster of showers and thunderstorms out across southeastern Kansas down through parts of Oklahoma over the past several hours. They're kind of running parallel to the front, so they're not really moving very much, but eventually they're going to get going and start to push off toward the east a little bit later on tonight. This cluster is weakened just a little bit, really from Woodson County and also Wilson County. Still very intense from Yates Center, heading a little bit farther south, just west of Iola, just to the west of Chanute, Fredonia, Neodesha, a lot of thunder, a lot of lightning, just north of Montgomery County. I'm kind of wondering what this complex is going to do. This has also been a slow mover, but it's been developing on the front edge. So I think it's going to become a pretty big complex and then start to tear east later on tonight and affect most of us with moderate to strong storms and maybe a severe thunderstorm here or there. Look at the rainfall amounts. This in Greenwood County. So this is 5, 6, 7 inches just because these storms really haven't been moving. Severe weather all the way from Nebraska. You can see the spin, the upper level low is triggering off all these showers and thunderstorms across the region. So we had quite a few tornadoes earlier. That is starting to wind down. And then of course the severe weather tracks farther south all the way down through Oklahoma and parts of Texas. All right, let's go through time. 10 p.m. storms lining up Bartlesville to Independence. Finally, this cluster starting to work east, getting into Cherokee County by midnight, stretching back along the state line of Kansas and Oklahoma. Then this big complex continues to work in through the metro. Here's 1:30 in the morning, all the way down through northeastern parts of Oklahoma. Heavy amounts of rain, especially along and south of I-44, and some strong storms, maybe a random severe thunderstorm as we go through the night. So all the way into the morning, we're going to have a few showers out there, and then things will start to dry out a bit for us tomorrow. Temperature still sitting mid to upper 70s right now. Here's 7th. Here's range line sitting at 77. Southerly winds at about 5 to 10 at this point in time. And once we get rid of these storms tonight into tomorrow morning, still some random showers, southern counties, and then we mainly dry out. I think we'll be into the upper 70s by the noon hour. Once we get into the afternoon, we go into the mid 80s. But tomorrow night, here comes scattered thunderstorms again. Some of those could also be on the strong side, lasting all the way through the daytime hours on Sunday. Mainly tomorrow's dry after the thunderstorms tonight. Scattered thunderstorms Sunday and Monday. Temperature is still pretty good, and then a few random showers Tuesday and Wednesday, more thunderstorms Thursday and Friday of next week.
Yeah, with all the potential thunderstorms we've got on the horizon, it'll be imperative that they get that Skywatch weather out.
That's absolutely certain.
All right, thank you, Doug. A tornado ripped through a K-12 school in Wallace County, Kansas Thursday. The school was badly damaged, but fortunately no one was injured. Haley Tucker has the story.
Weskin School Principal Jeff Montero was watching the sky when the alarms went off.
We tried to figure out exactly where it was, if we needed to go down to the basement. And as some of my staff were doing that, I went outside and I saw the clouds starting to spiral.
That's when Montero got everyone to the basement.
I was really worried about the kids when I was down there, trying to keep them safe, keep them calm, and make sure they weren't freaking out.
And after the storm passed,
well, the first thing that came when I saw is when we left the shelter, it was in the big gym, and it was a waterfall. The roof had gotten damaged pretty good, and the water was coming in from the rain. And then as we walked through the building, there was some broken glass, and then upstairs in like my office and some of the other offices and classrooms and stuff, you can look up and see sky.
One loss that will hit the community hard, the bleachers on the football field.
We just fundraised like over $75,000 to put them in. Community members spent weeks putting them up. We got a chance to take a picture with them as a staff and as a school, and we had them up for about a week and a half, 2 weeks, and now I don't think we're going to use them again.
Even then, Montero says it's important to keep one thing in perspective.
I was just happy no one got hurt. Things like this happen, bad things happen. No one got hurt, so it's a good day for me.
Coming up, we'll take a look at federal data for the month of April that states inflation could be easing up. New federal data shows a slowdown in a key price marker, a sign that inflation pressures are easing. Wholesale prices rose only moderately last month. The Producer Price Index, which measures prices charged by wholesalers, farmers, and manufacturers, increased 0.2%. That is less than expectations. Falling prices for food, transportation, and warehousing helped slow the rise. Mortgage rates are inching lower, potentially bringing good news for home buyers. Freddie Mac reporting that this week, the average long-term U.S. mortgage rate fell to its lowest level in 5 weeks. Their chief economist says the rates are expected to decelerate the rest of this year, boding well for home buyers. Still, high inflation is also still having a ripple effect, keeping mortgage rates relatively higher compared to this time last year and bumping up the cost of home improvements. A report says more retailers are adding on charges for returning purchased items, particularly for shipping them back to the retailers. About 41% of retailers had return fees last year, compared to about 33% of retailers in 2021, according to a survey by logistics company Navar. Companies such as H&M, J.Crew, and JCPenney now have such return shipping fees. Up next, the world's oldest dog celebrates another big milestone. We'll take a look. The Guinness World Record holder celebrates another milestone. Bobby, the world's oldest dog, celebrated his 31st birthday in Portugal on Thursday. With 100 families, fans, and friends by his side, Bobby earned the title of world's oldest dog in February, after his birth date of May 11, 1992, was confirmed by the Veterinary Medical Service and government-run pet database. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. How a Pittsburgh flower nursery is preparing for a busy Mother's Day. Plus, Freeman Health System partners with an organization to provide free mammograms. Mother's Day is Sunday, and if you still haven't figured out what to get the most important woman in your life, chances are you're going to have to spend some money. And chances are you're not alone. Americans are spending big for Mother's Day. The most popular gifts, of course, are flowers and cards. Local nurseries like Pittsburgh's In the Garden have been gearing up for the big weekend. They started growing their massive hanging bouquets in January specifically for Mother's Day. With so many flowers in bloom, nursery owners hope finding the perfect gift for mom or grandma, your wife, can be a one-stop shop.
We grow lots of hanging baskets, so we're still going to have hanging baskets for this weekend and beyond. Our season doesn't just end on Mother's Day. We're open all summer long, so we'll still have stuff. It won't be picked over or anything like that. We have plenty of material for the customer.
Harrison says they stay open normal hours on Mother's Day for those last-minute shoppers. Ahead of Mother's Day, some local soccer players hit the field against their own mothers. The 10 and under Southwest Missouri Prospectors Club soccer team in Webb City hosted a Mother's Day game. It pitted the players against their moms in an exhibition game. Officials say it's a great way to get parents involved in the fun.
Most of the moms have never played soccer, and we have for 2 years now, and most of the kids on our team have played for a while, and so we're going to beat them.
Because we know how to pass and we know how to dribble.
The kids won game 3-2. The team says they plan to make this a yearly tradition going forward. Freeman Health System in Joplin partners with the Breast Cancer Foundation of the Ozarks to provide free mammograms. It's a part of the healthcare provider's Project Pink. The partnership makes it possible for uninsured or underinsured people in the Joplin area to receive a breast evaluation.
We like to partner with our local health systems to come out and do these events to make it really convenient for someone to come out and get their mammogram done and not have to worry about the cost of that, because we do pick up the cost of the mammogram that they have done here today.
Project Pink was at the Wes and Jan Hauser Women's Pavilion. Kansas City, Missouri is now a sanctuary city for the transgender community. The city's mayor, Quentin Lucas, signed a resolution Thursday that pushes back against some bills at the state level. Mark Pelos has more.
This is just about right and wrong, and it's right to support your fellow people.
By an 11-1 vote, the City Council approved a resolution to make KC a sanctuary city for the trans community.
We're not giving up a fight for people. We're not going to be scared to stand up for people, because it's never wrong to stand up for people.
The resolution comes at a time when some trans rights are in the crosshairs of the state government. Governor Mike Parson is expected to sign bills into law that would restrict minors' access to gender-affirming care, as well as a ban on transgender women competing in female sports.
To be in Kansas City, Missouri is to mean that you are in a city that accepts, promotes, and supports the rights of trans people. And I think that's something that's powerful.
Heather Hall, who represents the 1st District, was the lone council member to vote against the resolution.
People pay their tax dollars for us to do very few things. Trash, snow removal, potholes, sidewalks. They do not tell us to do social issues at the municipal level.
Members of the trans community were at City Hall to see the resolution get signed. We talked to the head of the LGBTQ Housing Commission, who told us the city made the right decision.
If the city chooses to say that we're not going to discriminate, that's the right thing to do. We're just like everybody else. I mow my lawn, I garden, I grow tomatoes. We're just normal folks like everyone else.
Critics of the resolution doubt its enforceability. Mayor Lucas says he's going to forward a letter to the Police Board of Commissioners, asking them to follow the policy adopted by the City Council.
There are a lot of priorities for the Kansas City Police Department. A priority for the Kansas City Police Department is not standing between patients and their physician, is not standing between decisions that are made by families.
A bit later, getting ready for Mother's Day.
Mother's Day is right around the corner. I'm Kevin Cork with a look at some facts that just might surprise you. That and much more coming right up.
Well, it turned out to be a decent Friday for us today. We've had some scattered thunderstorms early this morning and more popping up outside right now. Still severe thunderstorm watches in effect. Kansas and Oklahoma, we don't have any active severe thunderstorm warnings right now, but we've seen several throughout the evening hours. We've been watching this cluster. It really hasn't been moving that much because these storms are moving southwest to northeast, kind of parallel to the front. Nothing to really kind of push it. Finally, we're getting a little shift here where these are going to start to push east, the ones in northeastern Oklahoma. Most of us are dry, but let's go ahead and zoom in. Here's the eastern parts of Woodson County. So we're looking at Iola over toward Yates Center, just north of Chanute. Very strong thunderstorm right below severe limits. This stretches back Fredonia, Neodesha, and then back into Elk County. That's where we've been seeing those storms. And then these guys popping up just south of Chautauqua County. This is going to become a cluster and then start to drive off toward the east as we go through the overnight hours. Look at the amounts of rain that we have seen with this one cell, 5, 6, 7 inches. Everybody else, this is all the rain we had last night. Pretty good rainfall amounts right along the I-44 corridor. This is all caused by an upper level low. You can see it spinning up through parts of Nebraska, and then the front draped all the way down into Texas, causing this severe weather from Nebraska through eastern Kansas down through parts of Oklahoma. And this is what we're going to see as we go through the overnight hours. Let's step through time. We're going to go to 10:30, so about an hour out. Thunderstorms haven't moved that much, finally progressing a little farther east. Here's midnight, this cluster, Fort Scott back toward Parsons, and then again this cluster, northeastern parts of Oklahoma, expands as it pushes east. So here's 1:30 in the morning, finally working east. I don't expect much in the way of severe weather with this complex, but we are going to have some strong thunderstorms, and we could get a few low-grade severe thunderstorm warnings for hail. Scattered thunderstorms continue all the way into the morning hours, and then things will start to taper off a little bit as we get into the afternoon. All right, temperatures, most of us are still mid to upper 70s. We're looking at 7th and range line, sitting at 77 southeasterly winds at about 5 to 10. Of course, another batch of scattered thunderstorms tonight, which we'll take. We need the rain. Leftover showers in the morning, and then just a lot of clouds. Upper 70s by noon. I think most of us get into lower 80s during the afternoon. Case in point, 83 in Nevada, 83 in Miami, Chanute, 85 degrees. And then tomorrow night, scattered thunderstorms roll right back in to the region. And those could be on the strong side as well. Let's go 84 tomorrow, 83 Sunday. Scattered thunderstorms continue Sunday into Monday. Just a random shower Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Thunderstorms again late Thursday into Friday of next week. So plenty of chances for rain. We just need it to be widespread as possible.
It's been a really, really long time since we've seen just rainfall in our area where I've been able to look at the 7-day and then the 10-day and be like, man, it's quite a bit of rainfall.
We need it.
It's good to see.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Doug. We all know the important insects for the environment, but new research shows bugs could be a game changer in the fight to protect the planet. German scientists say they're not pushing to get the critters on your plate, but believe the protein-rich pest could become the livestock feed of the future as they require little land or water to produce. Experts say that could phase out large-scale growth of soybeans, which has been blamed for extensive deforestation. Coming up in sports, Missouri Southern softball aims to stay alive in the regional tournament. Plus, the Fort Scott Tigers tried to earn the outright SCK championship against Chanute. And Jacob Leonard has those highlights and more next.
The Missouri Southern softball team won their regional opener last night, beating Minnesota Duluth 3-2 in walk-off fashion. And this afternoon, the Lions are right back on the field in round 2, facing Southern Arkansas. And the winner of this one advances to play in the regional championship round tomorrow morning. On top of the first inning, Kara Amos gets Moso started with a big swing to left. Clears the fence for the 2-run jack. Lions on top early. The bottom half of the first, Southern Arkansas responds. Jackson Dyson hammers it opposite field. That gets over the fence for the solo homer. Cuts the Lions lead to 2-1. Same score, 5th inning. More long ball action from the Mule Riders. Reagan Dillon high and deep to left, another solo shot, ties the game up at 2. Stayed that way until the 7th. Southern Arkansas, 2 on, 1 out. All they need here is a base hit to win it, but Gracie King got all selfish. Hammers this one up and out to left. 3-run walk-off homer for King. Lions fail to score a run after the first inning. They fall in this one 5-2. So the Lions have to turn around and play again in an elimination game against Rogers State. That one actually still going with Rogers State leading 2-0 in the top of the 5th. Natalie Bates in the circle right now for Missouri Southern. She's thrown 3 2/3 shutout innings with 5 strikeouts. The Pittsburgh State Gorillas and Missouri Southern Lions are both still alive in the MIAA Baseball Conference Tournament. Just barely, though. Pitt State lost last night to Central Missouri. Missouri Southern fell to Northeastern State earlier today, so the two rivals actually face each other this afternoon in an elimination game in Warrensburg. In that one, Southern scores 4 in the top of the 9th to win 6-2. Tragan Parker goes 3 for 5 with a triple and a pair of RBIs. Drew Davis 2 for 3 with a home run for the Lions. And Missouri Southern will be back in action tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. playing for a spot in the championship game. Tonight is the final night of the SEK baseball regular season, and we finish with a big one. The Fort Scott Tigers host the Chanute Blue Comets tonight. And this game decides a league champion. Now, if Fort Scott wins, they earn the outright SEK championship. If Chanute wins, they share the title with Fort Scott and Pittsburgh. Now, Chanute gets things started early. Top of the first, Lars Custer rips it into right. Ball ricochets off the wall. Rhett Smith scores. RBI double gives the Blue Comets a 1-0 lead. Now, to the bottom of the fifth, game tied at 1. Big play here. Chaden Clayton pops the bunt up. The catcher, Brian Jackett, great awareness, makes the catch, throws the third to get the double play. Blue Comets out of the inning. To the bottom of the sixth, still tied. Lennox Van comes through clutch for Fort Scott. RBI single out to left with the bases loaded gives the Tigers a 2-1 lead. On top of the seventh, last chance for Chanute. Fort Scott gets the force out at second, and that is the ball game. Fort Scott wins a tight battle over Chanute 2-1. Tigers are outright SEK Conference champions. Congratulations to them. And back to Missouri Southern. They got to get the offense going, man.
Oh, yeah.
Kara Amos had that 2-run homer in the first inning of the first game of the day. They haven't scored since. 6 scoreless frames in that one, 4 scoreless frames in this one. Get them bats going so we can talk about them tomorrow.
Yeah, we just need one hot inning, then they're right back in it.
That's all it takes.
But the Mule Riders, is that what I heard?
That is their mascot, Southern Arkansas Mule Riders. Yeah.
All right.
Very unique. It's the only Mule Riders I know.
Absolutely. That's it for sports. We're back with more after this. Mother's Day is right around the corner. And while it's custom to get your mother or mother figure a gift, behavioral health experts say moms should be also rewarding themselves with some TLC. Fox News correspondent Kevin Cork has the latest on their recommendations, plus if it's true that moms really do have a favorite child.
Data collected by the Pew Research Center finds that mothers are more likely than fathers to say, yes, being a parent is both tiring and stressful. Mothers are also more likely to feel judged when it comes to how they raise their kids.
We have everything else on the schedule, our children's extracurricular activities and their homework deadlines. We've got our partners' activities on there as well.
That's why this Mother's Day, behavioral scientists say moms need to make time for self-care a big priority.
Scheduling in 5 minutes to do a quick meditation or to have a walk. We think, oh, we'll do it anyway at some point. But if it's not in the schedule, are we really going to do it?
But while many moms acknowledge how demanding their roles are, research from Purdue University finds some mothers also recognize that they do, in fact, have a favorite child.
Looking at childhood and adolescence, definitely mothers do favor some children over others, not intentionally. They're also willing to identify the children with whom they have the most conflict and the child in whom they are the most disappointed.
Meanwhile, researchers say adult children who think they're the favorite should think twice.
When we look at what mothers report, we find that adult children are right less than half the time.
And when it comes to showering mothers with gifts, well, the National Retail Federation says shoppers will spend more than $35 billion on presents this Mother's Day. And yes, in case you're wondering, that is a new record. I'm Kevin Cork, Fox News.
Americans are spending big for Mother's Day. The National Retail Association and Prosper Insights and Analytics says Sunday should set a new record. They predict customers will shell out $35.7 billion for mom based on their annual survey. That's nearly $4 billion more than last year's record high. According to the survey, 35 to 44-year-olds are the biggest spenders. The most popular gifts are flowers and cards. Coming up, one U.S. Navy veteran receives the gift of a new home. We'll hear from the veteran about how this has changed his life. It was the surprise of a lifetime for a U.S. Navy veteran. John Tappan, his wife, and his service dog Henry are moving into a brand new home. Not only that, the house didn't cost them a penny thanks to an organization called K9s for Warriors. And Aaron Ferrara shows us how it happened.
All right, look up!
Give me a look. Gosh.
Oh my God!
A pure reaction of gratitude.
Oh my God, it's perfect!
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
It is
This is so nice.
Oh, it's
Can I move?
John Tappan and his wife Emily and Tappan's service dog Henry walk into their very first house, a new one given to them by Canines for Warriors.
You know, just a few years ago, I was considering suicide, and to see this now and all these people giving me the reason that I'm pushing every day to hopefully end veteran suicide now, and it's given me reason to live.
Tappan graduated from Canines for Warriors 3 years ago. He served in the Navy for more than 4 years, including a 9-month combat tour before being discharged in 2011. The Tappans say this moment is life-changing.
It's going to give us the opportunity to get out of debt, to build a future for ourselves.
John Tappan becomes the 5th veteran to receive a new house from Canines for Warriors.
Carl Kricko is the CEO of Canines for Warriors. He says selecting Tappan and Canine Henry was easy.
They're getting back to a life of dignity and independence, right? They're getting their life back. We're just chiseling away at the anxieties that these veterans have to deal with in order for them to have the best chance of having a full and happy life.
A brand new house, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and a garage. Local group JWB Real Estate Capital provided the house, a process the company's president, Alex Sifakis, says took about 6 months from start to finish.
Homelessness is a huge issue, affordable housing is a huge issue, and so giving somebody a house can just really transform their life.
That's something Tappan can attest to.
I would never have this without you guys, so thank you so much.
And that's our time for tonight, and thank you all so much for joining us. But before you go, we'll leave you with a video of baby animals at a zoo in Peru. Be safe, and we'll do this all again tomorrow. See you then.